9 o'clock, time to get the meeting started. So if you would, please, first off, silence your phones or turn them off, please. Secondly, everybody stand for the pledge. Gentlemen, take your caps off. Pledge allegiance to the flag. I asked Matthew before we started, should we have prayer or pledge? So we chose pledge. That was a joke. Laugh, people. All right. Up here is John, and he's our counselor for today. He's from the attorney for the park, John. And of course, everybody knows Matthew and me. I am Stephen Rex. Go by Rex, go by Steve, and there's a lot of other names that are listed down there that I've heard, but I don't answer to them. So without any further ado, this is the first annual town hall meeting of 2022. We're going to be having more of these. Last year it proved out to be very good, and then everything happened in the last couple of months we didn't have them. So what we're trying to do here today is open it up for discussion. But instead of just saying already ready, set, go, we're going to start over here on my left and work our way around table by table till everybody gets their chance. And maybe by the time we come down this side, we will have already addressed some of those issues. Okay? So if you all want to move quickly, we're there. So, you have anything you want to put in? Anybody? You want them to come up here?
Yeah.
Okay, table one. Anybody have anything that you'd like to say? Ask what? Come on up. State your name, your lot.
Charles Johnston, lot 376. I was just wondering where we're at with the pavers being allowed to be installed again.
That's the 947.
Sure. I don't know if people can hear me. We're looking at that now. I think in certain areas that you're required to have it based on the specific area you were in. That's not necessarily the 974 rule requires it to be applied to every area. So we're looking at certain amendments that would resolve that issue.
We're going to be amending the parks rules. We're going to be amending the rules again at the second attempt at an annual meeting, because we have to 14-day notice the meeting to change rules. So we are working on that now. We were shooting for the 22nd, but it looks like we might have to push it back because the mailing won't get to the mailroom in time to get out in 14 days.
We're not overlooking that problem because it impacts a lot of people, okay? Next off of this table. Going once, twice, okay. This one.
Don Eddy, and I'm on lot 332. I just would like to see this meeting be on a different day than on Sunday. I have something else I'd rather do. It's okay with you guys.
I understand that. He'd like to see the meeting done on any other day except for Sunday. The only reason it is on Sunday, we're trying to get it on Saturday. There was too many other conflicting obligations that we had. We needed to get this done quickly. That's the only reason that it's being done on Sunday morning, okay? Typically, it's on a Saturday. Yes.
I'm questioning the dumpsters. My name is Diana Eddy. I'm on lot 332. We have a mess up on our end of the street and in other places. I understand, and he's not here because he sold his lot. Jim Swinton come and talk to you. He went to see Tracy. Tracy wasn't home. He come to see you and asked you what you were going to do about the dumpsters. You told him Nothing. If I don't do anything, they'll vote the compactor in. Well, when the first child falls in that compactor, who's going to pay the lawsuit?
I'm not, why don't you go?
I definitely did not say I'm doing nothing. I said that we're trying to get the compactor approved because otherwise, I don't really care what Jim told you. I'm telling you what I told Jim because Jim's not here to say anything. Okay, so the compactor is on the proxy vote because otherwise we're going to have to spend $40,000 on dumpsters. And it seems like he might have something to say.
No, so there's always issues if you want to make certain changes to the park. And sometimes these things are great when they begin. Sometimes you outgrow the aspect or you want to make changes. One of the nice things about a condominium is when you move into it, you have certain rules and regulations of which you've agreed to abide by, and you sort of move into an area and this is the way it is. And there's a lot to be said for it, and it means that board just can't really change whatever they want to change. It also means that when you do want to change something, you need to bring it to a membership vote. And one of the issues with the trash compactor is to put that in to the extent the membership wants to do it. And I want to be clear. We believe that is a membership vote. That's not something that's done by one individual. It's not something that's done by the board of directors. It is done by the membership. And I believe your board has requested that we put together the information that would have a membership vote of whether you want to have a trash compactor or not. And to the extent that were to pass the membership vote, then that could be done. But it's not something that's done unilaterally. And I don't believe, and I also want to be very careful. I've been through this enough that people say things and people hear things that people didn't say, or these things get translated. And that doesn't necessarily always mean that somebody's lying or something else like that. It just means certain people are saying certain things, certain people are hearing other things. But the goal is to try to work to bring this to where it needs to be.
Regarding the safety that you brought up, valid concern of all of us. These compactor dumpsters are used statewide in many multifamily associations. And the way that they set them up with all the safety measures, it's virtually impossible for that to happen. There's also going to be a fence around it. It'll be locked at night, opened up in the morning for those to put their garbage into. But there's a lot of safety features that are built into these compactors, okay? Any other thing from the table? Come on up here, address, name, lot number.
I'm Cheryl, lot number 321.
Okay.
Okay, why is it we can't have they can't empty the dumpsters twice a week like most dumpster companies do? They come in here, twice a week, they empty the dumpsters. If we had dumpsters that were bear-proof, bam, okay, the bears can't get in there. If these dumpsters are emptied twice a week, I believe it would address the problem. Why aren't we trying that solution?
They are empty twice a week, or they're on schedule to be empty twice a week.
Schedule, okay, that's a very good word, schedule. It's not happening. Maybe we should look at.
We've changed companies several times. They are on schedule for twice a week. When they don't, they are contacted and they make that trip to make sure that it's done, okay?
Maybe we don't have enough garbage cans. Garbage cans are all full.
Okay, let me ask you, let me interrupt you. Sorry. There's a label on the front of these dumpsters. Oh boy, you're gonna start to make my voice crack because it upsets me. One rule on there, it says garbage, household garbage only. Open it up. What do you see in there? You see all sorts of stuff but that. Construction debris, boxes that aren't broke down, bicycle parts, end tables, you name it, it's in there. Bags of leaves that's not supposed to be in there. televisions, mattresses that are stuck up on top. That's not the place. Take it down, put your leaf bags out by the road. Our maintenance guys will pick it up. Does anybody ever have a problem with that? Nope, they do it. Okay? Anything else outside of household garbage? Take it down to the dumps. Okay? It will help resolve the, if everybody does it, it would be helpful. Okay?
Just one quick note, there are a lot of things that would help the situation, and you brought up one. Breaking down boxes, that's fine. All these water bottles, did you know once it finished, you squash it, put that lid on, you've just made it a third of the size that it is, okay?
Good point.
So there's a lot of things that you're right, can be done.
Yep. The other thing is put it in the dumpster. When you throw your household garbage in the dumpster, put it towards the back, not right in front of the door. What's that? That's being respectful. The next person that comes and wants to put their stuff in, because what they're going to do is open up, oh my God, it's full. Let's just throw it on the ground. Yeah. Okay. We can certainly take a look at that, but I would kind of be hesitant about putting stuff like that out because of the smell getting to the bears. The bears are going to tear the chicken wire down and all, it'll be all over. We'll take a look at something about recycling. Seven, yeah. But we have 7.
We had dumpsters at the fairground. We had no bears in the park for years.
Okay,
All the people back there for 10, 15 years know that.
yep, that includes me.
They think the bears.
Same dumpsters have been here that have been here forever. That's why they're deteriorating and rusty. The bears can rip the lids open, push the doors open. It's time to get new ones. So, okay. Well, okay, that's why it goes out to vote to the whole association. Right. There's many reasons. There's pros and cons about it. Number one, the people that are living right next to the dumpster, a couple doors down, they don't like the stench of it. I understand. I can understand both sides. I'm not going to tell you which way I'm leaning, but that's okay. Is it done here on number 2? Moving on to this one. Any questions, any comments? Whoa, that made it fast. This one. Oh boy, we got some people takers here. Lot, name and lot.
Darrell Blevins, lot 52. The biggest concern I've got, in anything, everything's got to be prioritized. And to me, may not be the biggest concern, but the sewage lift station to me is the biggest concern. Look, fixing the entrance up, it's all pretty, that's fine. Trash compactor may be fine. But if the health department comes in here and shuts us down because of a sewage lift, this place is worthless to all of us. And is there just going to be one trash compactor?
That's all it's gonna be. Okay. Is that you've got 2 questions out so far. I'm getting old and I'm losing my memory. So let's address the first one. First one, Matthew, can you answer the first question? I don't know.
It was, it was regarding the lift station. So we signed the contract for the lift station. We submitted the initial deposit. I think Friday I got the first periodic billing for it. They told us it was 8 to 10 weeks for parts to come in. So they are looking at the end of January, beginning of February is when they're going to begin and complete the project. So that's in the works, but it's not something we can handle ourselves. And it took us an extremely long time to find a vendor that would actually come out and quote it and find a solution.
Your question on that? And your next question was prioritize. Why don't we prioritize, right? We have so many, we're juggling so many balls in the air right now. If we just picked one and said, okay, here's our priority, and it's a lift station, then we'd have to wait to get the lift station done before we went on to 2, and we'd never get anything accomplished. That's why we're picking on several of the top items, which we have prioritized in the board meetings and everything else, okay? No? Totally understand. You want to address the funds for the lift station?
No, I believe the board is looking at a special assessment to raise the necessary funds. Part of those assessments is supposed to be for the lift station. That is getting put into the works. But look, there's certain things you just need to do. One of them is a lift station, and that needs to be done the way it needs to be done. So the board is putting that together. That will come before the membership.
Yes.
Linda Dix, Lot 43. Yes, I think the lift station is the most important thing. Yes, that is where we should be putting our money. It is our money. We expect everybody to respect that. And I would like to see a capital plan. Maybe we need a committee to develop a capital plan that will stage improvements, what needs to be done, and the capital plan should be put in the budget. That way, we know what we have to spend on certain things as time goes by. But we need a capital plan. Let's get a plan.
So there actually is, if you look at, and I think if you request it, it should be able to be made available to you. But there is a reserve study that indicates what are the capital issues that you're facing. That doesn't cover everything, but it covers a number of things. Speaking with your board, I believe they are looking to revise the reserve study, which should put forth anything that's generally in excess of $10,000 to repair when it needs to repair, and to make sure that you're raising the funds as they are as they're needed. Now, there are things that come up that are in excess of that, but I think, think your point's well taken. Number two, I think the board is looking at it to get a revised plan together, reserve plan, and you should be able to look at that. That will be done by engineers, that will indicate what the life expectancy is of each of the elements that are over $10,000, how much needs to be reserved each year for that, how much needs to be used for what we call deferred maintenance that needs to take place less than annually, and that extends the life of the element, and then when it needs to be replaced.
She has one more question.
Does this include infrastructure such as water and cable?
It generally, I don't believe, is going to include cable. It should include water to the extent you own it, you're responsible for it, and it is a component that is in excess of $10,000 to maintain and repair. I don't have a copy of your reserve study with me. If it's not there, I think it's something we do want to raise with the engineers to make sure that's in there.
The last reserve study that was done in 2008. So we haven't updated our reserve tables or the accruals on them since 2008.
That works with the board.
You certainly can have a capital plan committee, but normally the reserve study should be addressing those issues. Now, if you want to make additional capital changes, generally at that point, you need to go to the membership committee. The membership. There's nothing wrong with having a committee looking at capital improvements, but just because you have a committee that wants to do capital improvements or make changes, then you have to take the suggestions of the capital committee, if they're not already in existence, to the membership for approval. But I think it's an excellent suggestion. I think it's something the board should be considering.
You got answered? Anybody else at this table? This table. Coming to you. Just a minute.
Yeah, I'm Tom Woodbury, lot 277. How are we making out with this lodge and the pools and stuff with that law guy with that owns it? The lodge and stuff, I thought we were suing him.
So we've looked at this in some depth, and I think this is the second half of the question. The first question is that there was a lawsuit that was filed against the association, a number of its individual directors. We're handling that aspect, and we are working on different components of what would be a counterclaim. You've entered in an agreement a number of years ago. It's a problematic agreement. We're looking at it. We have been working on drafts of the counterclaim. I assure you that I've seen the drafts. I've given my comments on what I think certain changes are, what causes of actions we think will be successful, which ones we think would be a waste of time. And we anticipate, without getting into the legal analysis behind it or the specific reasons for it, we believe that will be filed shortly. The way this normally works is that after a lawsuit is filed, the association has 20 days to respond. The association, the individual directors did respond within that time period with a motion to dismiss, indicating there were problems with the underlying lawsuit. There's been subsequent developments. I believe there's a hearing next week on the association's motions. Certain parties have been dropped. After the court rules on that, there will be a point that the association will in all likelihood have to provide an answer. At the time that the answer is filed, we anticipate filing the counterclaim. We believe a counterclaim will have a number of different points to it. I do not, to the extent that we think information that we're providing in this meeting may very well be going to the plaintiff in the case. I'd rather not go into the very specifics of each cause of action, the pluses, the minuses, the benefits, et cetera, and the detriments of it. But I will tell you that we're looking at it. We're looking at it seriously, and we have drafts that have been floating around.
That answer your question? That was the legal term of we're getting it taken care of, okay? The layman term.
My name is Phil Brannick. I live on lot 28. I've been here and owned property since '06. I've been a permanent resident since 2011. I have two issues. Issue number one, as most of you know, that I take care of the dog park in the past. I have to quit because of my health conditions. I put together a package and addressed it to Matthew on our dog park, everything from a survey to plans for dog beach, everything. I also posted a list of what I felt the association ought to be responsible for in the dog park. I'd like to know if the association is going to maintain the dog park.
Yes, it's the association's property, so the association has an obligation to maintain it. So yes, they will. We just haven't had a board meeting to discuss it yet, and I did get your letter.
My next question is in regards to the maintenance crew. It's always been mowed perfectly for many years, since 2007. When Gary left, the maintenance crew quit mowing the dog park. I ended up weed whacking and mowing the whole top section by hand for about 3 months now. They came in twice and did a partial mow. I contacted the crew. They said, when we get to it. Also, the fence in the back, when they were putting it up, I checked with Gary because I worked with him for 10, 11 years now. And he says the plans were to put a plastic fence back there. When I contacted the maintenance crew, they said, let the dog park people do it. So
There's been a lot of history of, oh, that's something that so-and-so takes care of. The association doesn't do that, which was not the way it should be. It shouldn't have ever been Phil, the dog park's yours, take care of it. It's the association's property, but you deal with everything. It should have been a collaboration. It was something you were interested in and wanted to continue to develop, and the association should have been there to assist you. So yes, there are employees that say, oh, well, Phil does that. That's just a misperception that's been perpetrated over time.
Well, I really miss Gary as the maintenance man here. I worked with him for 2.5 years when I worked for the association. The problem goes now to the dumpsters. At that time, the dumpster people, when they came in, the office would notify either me or Gary. We'd go down, follow the dumpster man around. He would pull the dumpster out, dump it, not bang the lid till it got torn up. Then when he got done, meanwhile, we would blow off the pad. Then he would put it back in. Then he got out and sprayed the whole inside. So we never had any scum, maggots, or smell in the dumpsters until we changed crews. And I heard because they got a better deal with somebody else. And the maintenance crew was supposed to spray the inside of the dumpster. It's never been done. Also, Gary used to go around and push with a 2x4, push stuff into the back of the dumpsters. So there's a lack of the maintenance crew overseeing the dumpsters. The dumpsters are torn up because of lack of maintenance. Number one, not following the guy around and watch him bang the lids and tell him he can't do that. If we have a problem with stuff inside, Gary used to take care of it. I posted my little notice in regards to both the dog park and the dumpsters. One more thing, I found 6 bags of leaves in there. I notified Matthew about it. The next day, we had about 15, 20 bags piled up in the burn area. In the past, what we used to do is spread the leaves either on the ground in the dog park and mulch them. That's how come we had the grass that we have. Number 2, we used to make a compost pile with the leaves. They were never a problem till we got the new maintenance crew and Gary left.
Thank you for your concern, your comments. That was anybody along the wall? And Phil, thank you for taking care of the dog park and the upgrades and everything else. Thank you. Very much appreciated. Yep. Anybody along the bar area? Down here, coming this way, anybody? Yep.
John Otway, lot 16. I've been here since 2005. Leland sends out letters to many of us. After we get a letter, where does it go to from there if we do not follow their wishes?
Regarding what?
Well, example, 1 or 2 weeds
Weeds. Okay, weeds that are growing up in your brick.
in the
pavers.
bricks, in the pavers, and in the grass.
Well, it's up to the homeowner to take care of. It's up to each of the homeowners to take care of your property, like weeds that are growing up in your brick pavers, etc. If not, we don't want to let it running down. I'm not saying that yours is, but that's what those letters are for. Because we're all busy in our own little world, and it's a friendly reminder, let's get rid of the weeds. If it isn't done, they do inspections out here twice a month. The next time they come by, if they see that the weeds aren't sprayed, which takes about 15 minutes, done. It's lifted, no problem. We're doing it to help keep our park beautiful. Okay, that's what that is. Anything else?
Yeah. What is the liability of the association in the park right now? The max ceiling, if there's an accident? I've asked about insurance on golf carts before, but I think it was I was laughed at it. If you check in a lot of parks outside, you have to have insurance on a golf cart liability to operate in a park to protect everybody. Somebody hits my car, who do I go to? If I run into somebody and I get sued, what's it go to then?
So the question is, if you run into somebody,
Well, if somebody runs into me or my car,
So normally the rule is that the association has no cap on what its liability could be. It does have insurance. I don't have the specific amounts available in front of me at this point. But the fact is that there's potential liability if the association has a duty and the association has breached that duty. That's different and distinct from the person who's operating the golf cart. So if there's somebody that's operating a golf cart that winds up causing damage, that person may be responsible for it. If in the event that part of the cause of that damage could have or would have been from some type of duty that the association owed the membership or the individual that was injured, and that duty was breached, then there could be potential liability for the association on top of that.
have you ever looked into insurance on golf carts?
I've not looked into insurance requirements on golf carts in an area like this.
It's very low.
Excuse me?
It's very low. The
I
cost is-
understand that, but just because you have insurance on your golf cart doesn't mean, number one, that the association doesn't have a level of liability anyways. So by placing and requiring unit owners or any unit owner to have insurance on their golf cart, that doesn't mean it removes the liability from the association if in fact the association owed a duty and it wound up breaching that duty. Classic example would be somebody's driving a golf cart. There winds up being some kind of sinkhole or something in the road. They swerve, they hit something. Association has known about that sinkhole for a period of time. Now there's a question of who has what liability where. Number two, keep in mind, insurance, all insurance does, it doesn't remove liability if you have insurance from the association. What the insurance does is it ensures that if you cause the accident, you're at fault, you're at liable for it. Usually the insurance does two things. There's a litigation aspect to it that they will defend you in the claim. And then there's an indemnification aspect. To the extent you are liable, the insurance will pay the liability that you may have. The insurance helps to the extent you have no assets or you can't afford the liability. The insurance will provide a certain level of money to that, but it doesn't change the liability aspects necessarily between the association of any breach of the duty that the association may have.
I'm going to do something I said I wasn't going to do, but I'll go back for you, okay? Because you got a smile on your face. Well, you probably don't, but
It's a real smile. It is not very expensive to get a rider on your insurance to cover a golf cart. When we used to go to sport car races and we took our golf carts, we had to have insurance. The track required that we have insurance. And we've just kept it insured forever. It's not a big deal, and it's a very small amount. Maybe that's something we should consider requiring.
thank you. We're back here coming around. Anybody? You got one. That's it, Dana.
I have one comment and two questions. My comment is the fence looks great, but it did create a blind spot. Guy with golf cart, lot 440, almost hit me, whipped around the corner from Dollar General, never slowed down, never stopped. A day later, I watched Stephanie, somebody almost hit her. That's a very, very dangerous situation that we're going to be liable for when somebody gets hit.
I want to make a comment about that. He used a term, and I don't know if anybody picked up on it, but me. They whipped around the corner. Okay, why? There's oncoming traffic. There's everything there but a stop sign. For your safety, as you're approaching that cart path entrance onto the road, common sense says slow down, look both ways. We've been taught this since we were little kids. Not to minimize it, please be careful.
when you allow and the board allows 12-year-old kids and 8-year-old kids to drive a golf cart without a fine system or without doing anything, they're not going to stop there. And again, yesterday, I seen one go right by the gate. The gate people aren't going to stop them because they did, and they were told they can't do anything about it. So now the questions to the attorney. I have two questions. One is the basis for the lawsuit against us from Ed. And is there a clause in the insurance company that if it's defamation or slander or whatever, that our insurance does not have to pay? And if that's the case and we find out that they're not going to pay, whether they are or not right now, I don't know, who's going to cover the legal fees to date?
I don't think I can answer that specifically, but let me try to do the best that I can to try.
I
to
just
answer.
want an answer. I don't want the legal, I want an answer.
John, if you would, please
Yeah.
proceed and try to answer the question.
So the lawsuit has a couple of different components to it. It does have a defamation and a intentional interference with a business aspect to it. And that's been also filed against a number of the directors and I believe a former director. There's a number of different allegations to the lawsuit. You are more than welcome to look at it and read each one of them, but they primarily break down in a couple of ways. One of them deals with the failure to pay certain funds that were due the plaintiff. That was actually paid timely, so we're not sure why that was part of the lawsuit. One of it deals with issues relating to the development of certain lots that are owned by the developer. There's about 3 or 4 counts that relate to those allegations of the associations preventing the development of those lots. We have looked at it and have advised the association accordingly. It's currently, I believe, subject to a motion to dismiss before the court, but we believe that that will be amended. So also, I believe, claim defamation, interference. I think those have been generally dismissed as to Leland and as to the individual directors and a former director. I would have to look again at your correspondence, but if you look at the policy, generally the insurance companies will not cover contractual liabilities, and they're not going to cover intentional types of actions. In that case, you would have to look at it. Just because the insurance company is defending you doesn't mean that they wind up indemnifying you if there's potential liability. If there's potential liability, that may be the aspect of the park. I think we're far and a long way from having a determination made on that level at the moment. And these things get to be substantially more difficult questions when you wind up having what I call certain causes of action that are intermixed with aspects that have coverage and aspects that don't have coverage on the indemnification part of the policy. But to the extent insurance doesn't cover it, then the park itself would be responsible.
So you said they dismissed that part of it?
They dismissed against, I believe, they sued the individual directors for intentional interference with a business relationship and for defamatory statements, and they sued the property management company. They have dismissed the property management company on the verge of having, I believe, answer certain questions and produce certain documents that were requested. As to the individual directors made an offer of judgment under Florida statutes of a certain minimal amount of money because we don't think that those causes of action were solid causes of action. They wound up countering with an offer of their own due to how the mechanics work on these offers under Florida law. They had to either accept or reject the offer that was made for on behalf of the individual directors, which I believe was $100 by each director. They wound up countering, I think, with a counter offer of $1,000 each. And then I believe a day or two before the offer made by the individual directors expired, they accepted the $100 offer by each of the individual directors. There was components to that offer, which included various releases. As of today's date, we have not yet received the release, and until we receive the release, we're not going to, the dismissal's not going to take place. But that's a matter of enforcement. I believe from what I saw that we had communications with the plaintiff's counsel as much as earlier last week. And in that case, it was indicated that he had COVID and that he would be addressing this very shortly. If it is not addressed timely, I believe we will be taking certain actions to enforce their acceptance of that offer. I know that's more than you wanted as a yes or no question, but that's where it is.
Let's get all the way around and then I'll come back, okay? Because it'll probably get answered over here. Anybody else? I can tell by the look on your face you do. Come on.
This is just a general question. Has there been any, have we been looking at any more to purchase or counter offer? I don't know. I know we presented an offer to Elite in regards to purchasing this property up here. Have we thought about that anymore?
I don't think that's taking place at that moment. That doesn't mean it won't take place in the future.
I think putting it simply for the association, I'm going to speak for them. Right now, there's so many other things that are on our plate, priority, that I'm not saying that that isn't a priority, but there's other things that we're trying to get cleared up so we can proceed with that. Right. Yep. Yep.
So I guess that was the reason
That we're looking at. I expect that will be part of the counter claim. You're dealing, I think, with certain economics that are involved in terms of any resolution. Those things include what is the cost and the maintenance of this facility and the requirements that he is required to maintain. How much money is he getting for that? How much money is being actually used of the money he's getting for the maintenance requirements? Has it fallen below a base level or has it not? Those are the issues that you're dealing with.
Oh, yes. On a daily basis, the board members and some of the maintenance people, we are noting it, picturing it, sending them to our council, and it's going into log. So when the time comes and Ed or Plaza Lodge pushes the issue, we have all guns loaded. So we're taking note of everything.
it's still the same thing. And I understand things take time, but I guess, I mean, when you come down to the pool and you see.
This
Totally
is not,
understand.
look, you can look out at the window and you can see the rip screens. You can see a number of different things. You also have contracts that were entered into. This has been subject to litigation years ago before your current board members were members of the board, before you had your current council. There were agreements that were entered. There's questions whether those agreements have been abided by or things like that. That's in essence, when you have these types of disputes and these problems, the way this works is through a court system, and you're beginning to enter into that. I will assure you that however little patience you have for this, I believe that is the same that's held by your board in our communications with them.
Good point. Anybody? I know my neighbor is.
I'd like to talk on the compactor. I've lived here for 13 years, it'll be 14 in March. Never had a problem, except now, with the holes that are in the dumpsters and everything that's around them has created a rat problem at my house. I'm not very far from one of those dumpsters. When I had my house built, I had a metal underskirting put on to prevent that, but they came in through my air conditioning ducting. So it's not only under my house, it was in my house, and they were chewing on my PVC water lines, hot water and cold water. So I called the thing, I replaced 9. I had a flooding in my bathroom because the insulation built up underneath the subfloor and in between where the metal underbelly was. And it has tore my house apart with water damage. The insurance company has taken care of it. It's $500 deductible for me, but I paid the differential for the repiping, totally repiped, which was covered by the insurance company, and I'm paying the above to have it done in copper. This is the first time. If we had the compactor, this problem would not have happened for me. And you know the rats, and y'all live close, and I guess I'm the only one, or the closest one, that this has happened to, that I know of. But my pest control guy says when I came and paid extra to have rat traps and these boxes with poison in them, and I also have them inside my house. I have them underneath and I have them inside. And if we'd had the compactor, we wouldn't have this problem. And I think other people in here have had problems with their water pipes. And I don't know if it's from Berman or what, but I am for the trash compactor. I have family that lived in a complex with over 1,000 apartment buildings, and they had the compactor. And it solved everybody's problem. And it would have solved mine.
Thank you. Matthew. There's one vote for the compactors. No, you stand still.
The insurance company has already paid over $10,000.
Most of you know me. I know I'm getting there. I know nobody else, Sherry Walbridge, lot 63. The board is doing awesome. Keep it up. Compactor, oh, heck yes. That'll take care of the bear problem, the smelly lots, that are next to the dumpsters. Put cluster mailboxes in the dumpster area and you won't have that problem. Just saying. I'm not a snowbird. I'm a whenever bird. I come down whenever I want to. So if anybody wants to call me a snowbird, choice words. Anyway, I have a question. The lights that are out by the sign and the road, who pays for that bill? Us? Why are the lights on during the day?
So,
Didn't know they were on a timer.
yeah, so when the streetlights were getting upgraded and replaced, the timers were bypassed because the new lights have photocells in them. The timer that controlled the streetlights that go through the front entrance also controlled the front entrance sign. Miller Electric was supposed to be back this past Wednesday to put in a photocell on that little circuit right there at the front, so that way they would turn off. They had an emergency at another project, and they're supposed to be coming Monday now to put in that photo sensor. So that will turn them on and off
Cool.
when it gets dark.
Suggestion.
Yes.
Has anybody drove in at nighttime?
Mhm.
Because the blue lights, you don't see the sign until you are right there. Make a suggestion, a blue light and blue light. I love blue, you know that. Put a white one in the middle. That'll show the
The
words.
sign. When we ordered the lights, we didn't know if it was going to light up the sign or not. And instead of spending money on lights and being like, we don't need them, we'll save them now for later or try and return them with a restocking fee, we waited to see.
Mhm.
So now we know that the sign itself, the Salt Springs Resort sign, isn't lit up, and we're going to have to put a white light on that, which isn't a big deal, and we're going to work on that.
Yeah, the one in the middle would be perfect. Leave the rest of them blue. I love it. Fence, love it. Lights, oh my God, thank you. Okay. We have more owners now than what we did. Has anybody gone around and noticed how many empty spots there is? Not that many, which is a good thing. And as far as everybody voting on things, I think all voting should be internet too. Because I'm in New Hampshire, how am I gonna vote? You want me to fly down here to vote?
I always want you to fly down here. You're my
Well, I
favorite.
know that, man, but you know. You want to pay for it? No problem. I'll come down anytime you want, honey.
You just said you can come down here anytime you want.
Well, yeah, I hitch a ride with family.
All right. We're taking care of that too.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Awesome job.
Anybody from there to the dartboard? Either or, doesn't matter. Here, 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 here.
Mike Davis, Lot 97. Listened to a lot of people talk about the compactor. I know the one lady's concerned about kids falling in, kids running golf carts. I look around this room and most people in here that I can see, minus a few, don't really have kids anymore that are kids, they're adults. Now you have grandchildren, I get it. So I want to throw this out. If you have grandchildren or kids, who's responsible for them? Or is the board responsible? Am I responsible to take care of somebody else's kid? When I grew up, I had my parents, lived in a neighborhood, and I had everybody else's parents out there too. If I did something shady or wrong, there was no hiding from it. These dumpsters I've seen over the past few weekend nights where people are throwing trash away, they're not even opening the doors up. They're just walking up, throwing it up on top and heading on down the road. Now you're all concerned about bears. The bears are going to get into these dumpsters. If they're not fully secured, half the time the latches are never locked. Now, granted, there are some latches that are broken and should be replaced. But overall, basically what we got is a bunch of inherently lazy human beings that don't want to take the time out to open the door, throw it in the back, close the door. You get the compactor, it's going to take care of all that problem. It'll cut the bear problem down. Unless you got something around your own house, they're going to say, well, there ain't much here to have. Or if there is anything to have, it'll be at the compactor. Okay? Mailboxes. Do you all like trying to go up here to get your mail or find out, hey, it's not up here, it's at Fort McCoy? Well, hell, now I got to drive to Fort McCoy to get my mail. To me, it's a no-brainer. The maintenance cost on dumpsters, they're steel, they're painted, they're going to rot. It's humid. We live in Florida. I think everybody realizes that. So if you're concerned about the rats, you're concerned about the bears, you're concerned about the kids, first of all, kids need to be reined in on their own. Yeah, there are kids running around here on the golf carts that are 13 flying around, especially at night sometimes. Not our responsibility, not your responsibility. It's a parent's responsibility. How do you handle that? I don't know. Fights have almost broken out saying, hey, I talked to your kids, just asked them politely to slow down. And next thing I know, that parent's coming to that individual saying, what are you doing talking to my kid for? If it was me, I'd be saying, well, hell, somebody does, because apparently you don't. Yeah, right? Yeah. Live the way you want to live. That's all.
Thank you. And I know that that doesn't answer the question on who's responsible, because I mean, times have changed. Children today have no respect for parents, anybody else. Let's face it, right? Guess what? It ain't just the kids. Sorry, I'm not gonna point anybody out, but I guarantee you, I've seen some of you in this park exceeding the 10-mile-an-hour speed limit with, you don't care. Fly around the corner, almost on 2 wheels, kicking up a dust storm, have to jerk my dog out of the way so he doesn't get hit. I'm not stretching the truth. Slow the hell down. You set the example for the younger kids and they might follow suit. Just saying. Anybody here to the dartboard? Anybody from the dartboard to the door?
Yeah, I'm Joe Walbridge and I'm on 63 too. And I just want to make a comment. When I first moved here in 2019, I spent hours, I mean hours, looking at legal documents and all of our stuff because I wanted to learn as much information as I could on the resort. And people that complained about the legal fees in here, if you go back and you dig through every lawsuit that this place, almost every lawsuit that this place has ever had, it all involves one elite. So when I used to run a factory, if I had a problem, I would find the root cause and get rid of it. And I think we all know the root cause. I think we should just work on getting rid of it.
There's so many roots out there, I don't know where to start digging. I understand that one. Anybody from here to the door down? She's not gonna talk. From the door to the column. Speak now, forever hold your peace. Y'all happy up on the hill? That's one racetrack going down that hill, ain't it? Yeah, do what? That's exactly right. Anybody at the round table? Past president.
I'm Brenda Harvey. I have lots 294, 5, and 6. I was a previous board member. Y'all, Matthew, Tracy, all of you. It's not an easy job. And you don't get a lot of respect for it. You get a lot of flack. I appreciate everything that you're trying to do. I do have a question. I missed the first 2 tables when I come in. Y'all were talking special assessment. What is the amount that you have in mind right now for the special assessment? And then I heard you talking about it being divided, going 2 different ways.
The current special assessment that we were looking at is approximately $500. And then I spoke with Leland earlier this week to make payment arrangements so that not everyone can pay $500 all at once. And we understand that. So I think that they agreed to, which this will all get mailed out to you when it's real. It's going to be, you can pay in full if you'd like, or you can pay equal installments over 3 or 4 months. I can't remember which one. I think it was 4. But we are going to offer payment plans and Leland will facilitate those for us.
Okay, on the trash compactor that you're wanting to put in, I voted no.
I know.
Well, I know you know. I answered you because you sent me another thing. Okay, need you to answer. So I did.
Mhm.
But question is, the compactor being there, with you wanting it, what are your plans so far as to keeping the smell out of it? How is it going to be operated? Is it going to be closed certain hours?
So the compactor, the way that GFL has set up well, actually, I haven't seen the contract because we never signed one. So that's not a contract yet. But they are leasing us the compactor. So we don't own it, which means we don't have to maintain it. We don't have to worry about it rusting. We don't have to deal with any of that stuff. Any of the local or state waste management protocols change as far as compaction or containment or any of that stuff. They handle the upgrades. We don't pay for those. When it is emptied, they estimated based on our volume, tonnage, and all of that stuff that they have data for us now. They converted it to the compactor with its ratio of compaction, all that fancy math that they do. They estimate they'll empty the compactor 3 times a month. So I think it was the 10th, the 20th, and the 30th is what they were rolling with. When they empty it, they actually take the entire unit. So they'll come in, disconnect it from its control panel, haul it out. It'll be gone about 2 hours. They'll empty it, they clean it out, and then bring it back and with it being cleaned out, rinsed out, deodorized, everything, and then put it back. So that would happen every time it leaves. So they'll actually be able to clean it out at the yard. Whereas right now, we don't really have good options for that. Plus the dumpsters have a bunch of holes in them. So it's not working out so well. As far as it being open or not, we've discussed putting the white vinyl fence around it and having it open from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. We've talked about having it locked at night. That all depends on the safety concerns and all of that kind of stuff. But I don't see the hazard that everyone else sees as far as children getting in it. No one wants to get in a stinky ass dumpster. I mean, especially one like that, because big dumpsters, you can see stuff in. You can see stuff that's cool to grab. You see junk that people, who has ever dumpster dived in here? No one? Just me? Okay. I've done it. I've done it. There's cool stuff in there like, hey, I could use that. That's not trash. In a compactor, you're not going to see that because they told us every third time the lid closes, it compacts. So it'll be gone. All you're going to see is trash bags from 1 or 2 trash bags. So the allure of trying to get into it isn't going to be something that's like a regular dumpster. I know. I mean, I don't dumpster dive here, but I used to. I mean, here there's a lot of fish guts and stuff in dumpsters, and I'm not into that. Along with the dog poop, that's not my favorite. So that's kind of how they have the compactor worked out, is that it's going to be removed for about 2 hours. And then they did tell us that if there is an issue with the compactor, it's not working, it's not compacting, something's wrong with it, they have a 2-hour response time for service. So because we're like, what happens if it's Saturday afternoon and there's no compactor working and we have a park full of people? They said we have a 2-hour emergency response time for getting it fixed and getting you back online. Does that answer everything?
Pretty much, pretty much. One more question, please. The golf cart track that y'all were wanting to put in or questioning about, are you wanting to put that into green space in front of the white fence that you just put in?
So without a map, it's hard to describe, but when you're coming in the resort and where that first turn is, where it starts to turn and it goes to 3 lanes, approximately there on the left side, if you're coming in the resort, is where the golf cart path would be. And then it would go through the green space behind that sign and come out on the other side of where the marquee, that the 316, 314, what's that road name? That road out there.
316.
It would be right on the other side of 316. So that way you would get rid of that blind corner, which is the goal. Because it was a blind corner before.
There was, and it's been there for years.
Yep.
I just hate losing the green space. I mean,
It's not going to be much green space because we're pulling it all the way to the front there instead of cutting all the way from the back, which was our original intent. And then as we worked through the plan and started moving things and things started to get improved, actually, I think it was Greg's idea to move it there, which was great. I think if I was estimating, it's probably going to be 50 feet long. I mean, it's not very far to get right from that corner to the other corner versus coming from the other side of the gatehouse all the way out to the front.
true. I just hate green space being lost. Thank you.
It also will take care of one other problem in here with people almost getting hit at the intersection. Slow down, Stephanie. her question is, so everybody can hear, what is the special assessment being used for? Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. What is it being applied to?
So I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it is for the lift station, which I think was $60,000 or $70,000 worth of it. I'm gonna call it a repair replace, because all of the internals, the piping, the pumps, the control panel, all of that stuff is getting replaced. The existing wet well stays, but they're relining it with some magical compound that'll outlive all of us. I don't remember what it's called. So they're relining it so that it doesn't leak or have water intrusion. And then everything else in it will be new. So it's the lift station. It's the electric at the maintenance yard, so we can have electric for the maintenance workers at the maintenance shed, the event shed, and the marquee where we put up the letters, which is, we tried to do it back then. So that's part of it. The other part was the legal defense fund, which everyone had talked about previously, and we decided that we probably should do that. And in 2020, we were over budget about $100,000. I think it was 93 or 97 after the CPA did their audit. And our operating cash, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I love it when people correct me when I'm wrong. The state recommends that we have between 3 and 6 months operating cash excluding reserves, correct? Yes. We don't have the 3 to 6 months operating cash excluding reserves. If you exclude the prepaid dues and all of that stuff, we don't have the cash we're supposed to have because we've been running over budget, which happens, but you still have to balance it. So that's the other part of it, was to bring us back into a cash healthy position. So that way we're not going, oh God, we've ran over the past 3 or 4 years and now we don't have any extra cash that we're supposed to have to bridge these gaps. That's why it was $500. If you look at the 2020 CPA's final audit, it shows that we were over, it was 93, 97. I don't remember exactly. Our P&L showed like 120,000, but once they adjust all of those magical bad debt and everything else, they came to 90 something thousand dollars. I don't remember. I don't remember.
Okay, is that it for the round table? Moving on. Next table up. Oh, no, you go ahead. You go. I'm going to pass you by. I'm going down here. No. If one of the two of you stand up and on your feet,
Yes, sir.
state your cause.
All right, this is Linda Cornwell, lot 441. How long before we get this trash compactor? Because if it's like 6 months to a year, could we at least fix the doors on the current dumpsters? Because I can't open them. And thank God, one of the roof doors is gone, so I can toss my trash through the roof.
So because we didn't have, the annual meeting didn't occur in December. We had it, didn't have enough votes. It was a whole snafu. So we're rescheduling for, I think earlier I said the 20th or 22nd, but it's probably going to be pushed back a little bit because we have to 14-day notice the meeting. That's state thing. That's not my choice. So because we've been pushed back and it didn't happen in December, on December 11th, like we were hoping, and we didn't get approval on the compactor, then I sent an email to GFL, which is our trash company. They're the ones that inherited us anyway. I asked them for a quote on if they rent bear-proof dumpsters, because last time we checked, they did not. You had to buy them. You could not rent them. They'll rent you regular dumpsters, but not bear-proof ones. So I asked if they will rent them. They're supposed to be getting me a quote back on that. And then since there have been a lot of leaves and yard debris put in the dumpsters, and we already have a shortage of dumpster space without the compactor, I asked them to get me a quote on a yard waste dumpster that we can put in the maintenance yard, that maintenance can put all of the yard waste they collect in to alleviate some of the dumpster usage. So I'm trying to find out if we can rent to replace to get the broken ones out of here and get something in that works, that's safe, while we're trying to get the compactor, because I'd rather not spend the $40,000 on new dumpsters. That just seems silly to me. Especially since we're just gonna go through this exact thing again in 5 to 7 years.
So do you think we could at least fix the doors so they open? So you can put the trash in normally instead of having to toss them through the roof?
I don't, what dumpster doesn't open? Because I haven't had
The-
one that the slide door didn't
The
open.
one, okay, before we did the musical chairs with the dumpsters, we had a dumpster right here off the main road that the doors moved really good
Mhm.
and you could actually throw your trash toward the back so you didn't fill it up too fast. Then all of a sudden, all the dumpsters were being moved around and we ended up with one that had a broken roof where that thing just fell off apparently, and the side doors don't open, or at least not easily. So.
Yeah, I didn't know
I'm-
any of the doors didn't open on the sides, because all the ones I've tried to use.
Well, they open if you really push it. And I'm going, okay, I'm not gonna wreck my hand because I'm already wearing a splint. So I toss it through the roof. So I was just wondering if somebody can fix the doors at least so they
Is that
slide?
over at the double dumpsters?
Pardon?
Yes? Okay, all right, there we go. Now I know where to send maintenance to look at it, because I didn't know
Okay.
that there wasn't one that was opening. I know we're missing doors, I know we're missing latches, I know we have about 2 foot by 2 foot holes in them, I know, I know all of those. I didn't know one that didn't have a door that wouldn't open. The reason that the dumpster got removed up here is because the association didn't own the property. The owner that's owned the lot forever, I think he was the original owner, he was selling it and the new buyer had a survey done. That dumpster was on his lot. It wasn't in association green space. So we were trying to remove it, or I didn't really want to remove it because I didn't have the compactor yet, but I said we would get it off the property because it's his property and we shouldn't be there. That's why that one got removed. It wasn't to create a dumpster snafu. It was because we didn't own the space it was at.
Oh, okay. Now, the other comment I have is that we have guests that stay here at the resort. And all I'm hearing from them is how terrible our bathrooms are. The shower curtains have black mold all over them. There's standing water everywhere. They've used this one and the other 2 shower facilities that we have here.
This one's terrible. Okay, this
Yeah,
one's absolutely
And I
terrible.
was just wondering, it. Here, you wanna talk about it?
They don't even empty the trash in there. I mean, one week you go in, the same trash is in there than the previous week.
Be specific, in which shower room you're talking
The middle one.
up there?
Yeah.
One up front.
Mm-hmm.
The main bathhouse?
Yeah.
Okay.
But they said they've gone to everyone that's on our map and it's the same everywhere. So I was just wondering what's happening to the maintenance on that? Because I know everybody's been working on the beautiful front fencing and all that kind of stuff. And other things have gone on the side there, but the bathrooms are a little important.
So I wasn't aware that the bathrooms were bad. I had heard a complaint a couple weeks ago, but that was before we had hired the second daytime person. So we had, Rob on maintenance. He's a flex position. So he works on maintenance and he does the bathrooms. So on certain days, he does the bathrooms in the mornings and then he goes and works with me. It only takes about 2 to 4 hours to do the bathrooms. So
Well, I'm with you. I didn't realize they were bad either until our guests were complaining about they had no place to take a decent shower. So, I mean, it's just brought up basically to my attention too. So I've taken the opportunity.
yeah, she's doing
Bear
the
in mind-
the rest of the days.
Keep in mind this one thing. These restroom facilities here, not ours to do. We can't, and we've complained about it. The other issue, came on the priority list when we realized that the bathrooms weren't up to what we deemed necessary, and we took care of it by hiring a person in that position. Okay? That should be getting better. Yes, ma'am.
Missed this at other meetings, but now you got it. Okay. All right. Where is this trash compactor going to be located? And I don't have a golf cart, so if there's one location, I don't want to stick my stinky garbage in my car and truck.
You have a neighbor that has a golf cart? No, I'm not being a wise guy here, okay? Oh, does your neighbor have a golf cart? Well, just use it when they're not here. Oh, I'm just kidding. There's a way to do that. I've seen other people put their trash on the trunk deck of their car. And I don't know if it was you or not, but I've seen a lot of people do it and drive it on their way out and you're done.
Oh, is it on the way out?
Sure. It's going to be up by the maintenance area up there. Up front by the laundromat, but not by the laundromat, in that area. Okay? Done?
Okay, and let me just if I could mention for a moment, if you don't mind, the extent you're having problems with the showers in this facility, in this building. The other ones that you have, you need to let your property management company know, and the association should be taking the actions if they're acceptable showers. As for this facility, anything you can do to document the date, time, place that you're having a problem without taking improper pictures within the shower, but indicating where the problem actually is, any kind of documentary evidence would be helpful in that situation. Okay.
Okay. You, Mary? I see you.
You're bad, Rex. My name's Art Tazi. Mary and I are on lot 416. We also own another lot, 133. First of all, I'd like to make a comment and thank this board for everything it's done, which in my opinion, over a decade of other boards just tabled or kicked down the can, as we say. You guys have done a wonderful job with the improvements that have been done here. So in my opinion, it's the first board we've ever had that actually supports the members without the first priority being the previous developer and mayor. The question I have, which goes to not only our documents, but goes to Florida state statutes is, does our current law firm, have you ever, in your review of the documents, rendered an opinion as to whether this, I characterize it as the 2013 sellout agreement, whether that is a contract? That's part of my question.
I'm not sure we've rendered a formal opinion on it. I can assure you that we have looked at it and are looking at it.
Can you say that again?
My name is Jonathan Ellis. I'm with Shumaker, Loop and Kendrick.
Yeah.
We have looked at the prior contract. We're looking at it a number of ways. The question was, had we rendered a formal opinion on it? The answer is no, we have not rendered a formal opinion on it, but I assure you we are looking at it in a number of different ways.
Can you volunteer what those avenues that you're looking at, John?
I want to be careful where we're going to the extent some of this information may get back, and I always don't like to indicate what the pluses and problems are. But there are issues dealing with good faith and fair dealing. There's issues regarding what level of compliance do you have? Are you just capable of accepting money? At what level of standard of care do you need to do? And there's a few other issues that we're looking at.
Let me characterize it this way. under Florida statutes, whether it's 718 or another statute, we are now shackled with any vote in here to be primarily at 75% of the membership. Would you have an opinion as to whether we could take that agreement and put it on the ballot and put it to a vote as to whether we as a membership would like to rescind that agreement?
We are looking at issues of the ability to terminate the agreement, if that's what you're asking. And then if you do terminate the agreement, what are the damages, if any, that would flow from that?
Any idea where, I mean, we're now 8 years into this with, you know, a considerable expense. Any idea where you might be with rendering an opinion, timeframe?
Yeah, and I don't think we were going to render a formal opinion, and sometimes, you know, let me be quite honest. This is what we are looking at as part of the counterclaim. What I don't want to do here is indicate the pluses and the minus, strengths and weaknesses, where the pluses are, where the minuses are, and then have this taped and used against us later on. So the answer is, to your question, we are looking at it.
Okay, final part of that question is, would you have an opinion as to whether it's more financially feasible to go to court on this sellout agreement, or more financially feasible to have it go to a vote of the membership?
I think you may be under certain assumptions of which you think is going one way or the other, which may be more difficult than that. It's not always a binary choice.
Okay, I'll stand for that. Thank you. And again, thank.
But I want to say this. I think they're very good questions. I appreciate you raising them. I will tell you, we are looking at these internally within the firm, and that we will be updating the board with drafts and other things along those lines of our thoughts on the agreement.
Thank you, John.
That's that table. This table, anybody? Anybody? Going once, twice? Yep.
Patsy, lot 204. I just have a question about all the junk that people are putting by the dumpsters. And that will be addressed if the compactor is put up front, I was told, and that way maybe try to find some of these people that are putting mattresses and the lovely grills and the televisions and such.
So one of the reasons it's hard to monitor the dumpsters is because they're decentralized. They're all throughout the park. We don't have any infrastructure there where we could put up cameras and monitor them and things like that. If the compactor is up front next to the maintenance yard, we'll have an easier time getting a camera over to it because it's 150 feet away from the gatehouse where we have infrastructure, and the maintenance shed where we have electricity and things. So yes, we do expect that problem to be easier to manage up there versus right now, unless someone takes a photo of, you know, Rex throwing the mattress on top of the dumpster. We're not going to know Rex did it.
Does everybody hear what she's saying? Basically, it's the same thing I was saying over here when the dumpsters came up. Have respect for your park. Read the little sign on the dumpsters, household trash only. It doesn't say, and throw your mattress, your TV, and your bicycle parts outside for somebody else to pick them up. Our maintenance guys with their own vehicles, and sometimes another board member and I have gone and picked up mattresses till it was full in his truck and his trailer was full, and we took them down to the dump. Why is it our responsibility to get rid of your garbage? Anybody answer that question and I'll shut up. That's what I thought. It is your responsibility to throw away your old TV, your old mattress, anything that is outside of the simple term household garbage. It's your responsibility. Patsy, does that answer your question? And that's putting it very bluntly. I've been told I was quite blunt anyway. Does that it on this table? What comment from Art?
If you own a residential property in Salt Springs, your own private home, there is no trash pickup in Salt Springs. You take your garbage and you either let it rot on your lot, whatever you own, or you bring it to the to your dumps. Or, you bring it to the recycle facility. And that's the choices you got. So in here, we pay for dumpsters and trash removal. And I think Rex, you're right on the money. Just put your personal garbage in there.
Sure is. And it's free. Y'all keep it up. All right. Now I'm going to ask a question. Who's going to monitor the dumpsters? Whose responsibility is it to monitor the dumpsters and the trash that gets thrown around? Who said that? Sherry did. You're exactly right. It's everybody's responsibility. If you see your neighbor dumping a mattress up there, walk over and say, hey, look, put it back on your truck or your car and take it to the dumpster. If they don't, take a picture of it. Everybody's got cell phones. Take a picture of it, send it to the board. What are you going to do? Leland will issue a letter. We've got to follow our guidelines that we have to take care of it, but we will. Anything else back here? This table.
Melanie Collier, and we're brand new here at Site 141. Just a comment about the trash situation. Probably everybody goes to Ocala, at least once a month. It's so easy to stop at the dumpster there or the, recycling center. Also, I would love to see a recycling bin here. There is so much trash that is wasted. Cans, plastic, cardboard. I would love to see something up front by the trash compactor or something so that we could do our share in recycling. And the other thing is, since I'm new, I didn't know how everything transpired, why we can't do pavers right now. I mean, what?
Right there at the beginning.
I don't understand what 947 rule
That has
is.
to do with covered surface for water.
Okay,
947. To put it simple. I'm sure
okay.
the attorney's going to say something a little bit more legal that no one would understand. That's what the 947.
So right now, we're not able to put pavers down.
We are on hold until we get a legal answer, which could take a little bit of time, but we are presently working on it. Is everybody here? 947 rule has impact on pavers, of which some of you have been impacted. Sorry, Charlie. We're working on getting an answer so we can move forward. But we have the Marion County we have to deal with. We have St. John's Water Management we have to deal with. We have to deal with the legal side of it. It's just not as easy as us coming to you and saying, okay, put your brick pavers down. Can't do it. We're getting answers so we can proceed forward, okay? John, did I state that simply enough? Thank you. Anybody else at this table? I know you want to.
I'm Chatty Dodd on lot 144 and 198, and I don't have a question.
Do you have a comment?
Dan Moon, 228. My concern is the boat ramp. This last holiday, everyone dropped their trailers all back here. No place to come in, pull in, put your boat in the water and park. I went back to the front and asked the lady about it. She says, well, park down here in front of the cottages. There's a fence all the way down through there, right?
There is now.
And you're not going to like the answer that our president of the association is about to give you.
To your lot. We don't own the property over here. It's one of the problems. We can't regulate it or control it. And the overflow parking area across from the cottages that was there, was this week? So this week?
Yeah, they finished it this week.
Yeah. This week, they, Plaza Lodge, Elite Resorts, whichever entity decided to do it, moved the fence up to the roadway and got rid of the overflow parking area. And it's rumored that they're going to continue doing things like that in some other areas, which yep, that's what I had heard too, which brings
You're
us back
right.
to Mr. Ellis over here. And that this is a new development that he doesn't know about yet, so.
Basically, there is a rumor out there that once they put the fence up, I stopped and asked the guy, so what are you doing? He said, I'm doing exactly what Plaza Lodge, without saying the guy's name, told me to do, because he works for that guy. I am now told that prioritize, we're gonna take the fence out here that goes up and jogs around the trees. No, we're gonna take it straight up and then down the road, so we're gonna lose that. Oh, great, that's nice. He said, that's not all. We're gonna go up where the boats are, because nobody wants to pay attention to the signs that says 24 hours only. And Ed Mayer, Plaza Lodge did this to us before, and they put signs out there and everybody jumped real quick. We notified everybody. They moved their trailers. They moved all their vehicles. That was good. But now they've crept back in. So now Plaza Lodge says, I'll fix it. We're going to fence it all off with split rail fence. So there's a good chance that instead of a rumor, it's truth. Because we do not own that. He does. He can do anything he wants. Pardon? It's his boat ramp. Exactly. I couldn't answer that because I'm not part of Plaza Lodge. No, the dog beach is ours. The area that I call the pavilion area, that's his. Okay. However, legally, that's where our legal team comes in. There are things that he's allowed to do and things that he's not allowed to do. And with him, because we're paying him that money every year, it includes some of the stuff he's taken away, and legally, I'm not an attorney, he is. I don't think it's possible for him to do it, but he has to do it first. We can't go on hearsay stuff. Is that correct, John? Okay. Right. Yeah, because everything this guy does cost us money. Okay, I'm trying to wind it down because he's costing us money. Any more at this table? This table. You're gonna take a little bit, I know. I'm gonna let him do this.
Tommy Heath, lot 363. We voted for the compactor. What's your backup plan when it don't work? When the power goes off, or you got a part that goes bad, what happens then? Who comes? Do you have the people that?
Tommy, were you
defend
not
it?
listening? Were you not listening?
Huh?
He can't hear. Oh.
What, I'm talking too loud? Yeah, I can't hear you. Another thing else too is that being that they put the fence up down there. Am I allowed to go to the lake? Do I park my golf cart on the side of the road, or I park it over on the, what do we do? Can't park there. So what, we're paying
Please.
for something.
Please don't park on the road. One, please don't park over across the road at the cabins. They're gonna get upset. Use this parking lot out here to get down to the lake. Okay, that's number one. buy a wagon and pull it. I'm coming up with some resolve for you. I don't want to see you going down across the uneven terrain down there and falling. So buy a little wagon and pull it down. And then your wife can put you in the wagon and pull you back to the cart.
Sheila's gonna leave him in the lake. She's gonna leave him in the lake.
Wait a second. He had two. I'll get back to you. Backup plan. That's when Matthew said you weren't listening. You didn't have your hearing aids in. Can you hear me now? All right.
So GFL has told us that they have a 2-hour response time for emergency service to fix the compactor if it goes down for some reason. 2 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're trying to cover all of those bases to make it convenient for everybody within the park. We're not saying that this thing is going to smell like a bed of roses all the time. You're putting garbage in it. However, it's maintained 3 times a month, and they use this disinfectant, rosary smell, and all of this other stuff. And it's certainly going to be a lot better because it's done off-site rather than rinsing these things out and that slop just goes back where the dumpster is. Okay? Yeah.
That's because those gates are older than you are, Tommy.
We already took care of that. Your hearing aid wasn't turned on. We're getting another light down there shining on Salt Springs Resort. Okay? Anything else you missed? I got my hearing aids in, Tommy.
Matt, my other question is along the shoreline, that doesn't belong to us either, correct? But yet everybody parks their boats out there, right? And they're not supposed to. Okay, I'm talking about with the state.
The land itself, dry land, we don't own. Plaza Lodge does, okay? Out in the water, Plaza Lodge doesn't own that. St. John's Water Management and the DEP own it, the state. What we have been told is take your boat, moor it off of the shoreline 10 feet so it remains floating. Nothing anybody can say. That came right straight from the authorities of the water. Okay? I'm just saying 10 feet, that's not further out. I'm 10 feet may go up maybe to your knees. Your boat cannot be resting on the bottom. It has to be floating. That's why I said approximately 10 feet. I have a boat. It's not in the water right now, but when I do, it'll be at least 10 feet out. I don't make my wife wade out there. I go unmoor the boat, pull it up the shore, boost her up, and we take off. And then we get out there and she throws me overboard. No. But that's how you have to do that, okay? Okay. For those of you, he said everybody else does. There's a few of you down here that have got your boats moored off a shoreline. Thank you very much. For those of you that don't, you're going to make it miserable on everybody that is. We have been told that if you keep doing it and anchoring and mooring your boat to upland, which is dirt, I will shut down the boat ramp. Who wants that? Show of hands. Who wants a boat ramp shut down? You do. You don't have a boat. Okay. All but him. Then get your damn boat off the shore. Period. It's simple. It's going to happen. And when it does, I'm going to come to, you're going to come to us and say, I can't get my boat out. Well, where is it? It's anchored on the upland. Well, we told you. January 9th. I don't know what time it is, but we told you. Okay? Work it out. No. Who's next? It's gonna be a little bit. No.
Rooster Hendricks, lot 67. I didn't get to make the annual meeting, little health issue, but I heard from several people that the meeting never happened. And the reason was that it didn't meet quorum. And I heard that the CAM indicated that we don't have 499 lots, that we have 513 or 513. First question, where does 513 come from?
The last unit number in the resort is unit 513.
Right.
She did not realize that our numbering makes no sense and skips, no, not now. That our numbering skips numbers.
Right.
And that there's things like that. She didn't know, Deanna did know because she was our previous CAM, so she's already experienced this with the annual meeting. So that's where the 513 thing came from.
Okay. Second, you said that you didn't meet quorum. And I heard that she had indicated, I think it was her indicated, like I said, this is third party, that it was like 257 to meet quorum or something like that.
She said she told us that it was the majority, so it would have been 251 or something, over half of the 499.
Our bylaws, or Florida statute says 2/3. Our bylaws say 1/3. 1/3 of 499 is 167. And by the count of the proxies that you received, we met quorum.
Yes.
So why did we not have the annual meeting, which is, the annual meeting is for the members. It's not a board meeting, it's for the members. So
Because
why did 5 board members not know that and not catch that?
I listened to the property manager.
Do what?
Because I listened to the property manager. She told me we didn't have it. I said we didn't have it. I didn't go and check her.
That's disappointing. Because you didn't even convene the meeting. You didn't open it. You didn't bring it to order. You just said, hey, we don't meet quorum. Everybody go home. So now you didn't have the meeting. And now what you should have done is you should have called the meeting, should have opened it and said, even if you were wrong, we don't meet quorum and we're going to adjourn. That's proper protocol, is you adjourn the meeting. Because those proxies are supposed for that meeting, those limited proxies for that meeting are good for 90 days. But since you didn't have the meeting, those proxies that you had are no longer any good. Of course, the attorney may disagree with me there, but so they're no longer any good. So those need to be thrown out and we have to start over. So my question to the attorney is, do we have to start out new with a 60-day notice, the annual meeting, first meeting notice? Because there's nothing in the statutes, nothing that I can find that addresses this, because I don't think it's probably never happened before. Most people adjourn the meeting till a later date. Yeah, that's.
And he's correct. Did make quorum, all those votes against the compactors should quorum.
And you had well over.
So the answer
200
to you is, I'm sorry, I was not ready to address that issue. It's my understanding that the meeting is being rescheduled, that we looked at it, we were in agreement that quorum was in fact met. The meeting should have gone forward. It did not. It was not continued. We're looking at, I don't know the answer right offhand as to the validity of the proxies themselves. I think the goal is if people have indicated or provided proxies to try to work to count those proxies, but we'll have to make sure that you can actually count them.
Right, so we have to find that out before we schedule the next meeting. We need to know if those limited proxies are still good. It was like over on each, I think it was over 200. And even if we used the 513 count, it would have been 172 would have been quorum, but so it didn't make any difference on the count. So do we have to do 60 days now, first notice? The next one, second?
I don't
notice?
know that. I don't know that answer. I'm not sure that we're going to, to the extent that there was a quorum, the meeting should continue. I don't think we're backing up to redo a 60-day notice again. There was nothing wrong with the first notice. The issue that we have was with the meeting itself. So that's what needs to be corrected. Correct. That's what I need to look at. The problem is you had a number of people that meeting should have gone forward, and you need to be, no, let me be careful on this. You want to be very careful telling people whose proxies should have been counted, they will not be counted because there was a mistake on the quorum issue.
Well, I'm not saying that, so I'm asking that.
Yeah, that's what I
And
think.
We need to find out from.
Correct.
council
My guess is
as to
those
whether they're
proxies are
good or
good
not.
proxies, that meeting should have taken place on that day. And if you're trying to correct an error, you wind up going with the proxies that should have counted. You don't not count proxies that were valid proxies that should have gone to that meeting as a result of somebody indicating that there wasn't a quorum and then not having the meeting. I want to double check that, but I do believe to the extent that it was, there's a situation where you actually don't have quorum and you don't continue the meeting. And that's an issue that I don't believe the proxies would count. This is a different situation. This is a situation where you did have quorum and they weren't counted. And that's the problem you're dealing with. And in all likelihood, my gut feeling, I haven't looked at, I apologize, I wasn't ready for this question, is that those proxies will count. You just can't not count those proxies by improperly indicating you don't have quorum.
Right. Like I said, the proxies were for that specific meeting.
I get it, and that meeting
And it
should
says that
have
in the
gone, and
statute.
we have those proxies. And the fact that that meeting didn't go forward is not necessarily basis not to count those proxies. There's two different issues you're dealing with. You're dealing with one issue where you don't have quorum. If you don't announce and you don't continue that meeting, they don't count. That's not this situation. This situation is you did have quorum. For whatever reason, you didn't count them at the meeting you had. What's the fix? The fix isn't not to just necessarily not count the proxies. And that's what I need to take a peek at,
Right.
or our office.
Well, appreciate that. So and then I understand that the organizational meeting didn't occur. Oh, it did? Okay, good. So I did get a little bit of bad information. The next thing, this last thing. There is a 0.12 acres of common area behind lots 94 through 98 and 400 something lots that back up one of them to your lot. And there was some modifications made in that area back there. And I'm just wondering, that's a material alteration that should have gone to vote. And I'm just wondering how that happened, why it happened.
What were the modifications?
Yep. And that's for your personal use, isn't it? So why is it you're taking property that is common to all of us and using it for your personal use? Do you not care anything about the daggum rules, Matt? There are rules that you have to follow. You probably could have come in here and said, hey, guys, I'd like to put that back there. There might have been like, hey, what? Nobody uses that. There's no access to it. What the heck? Go ahead. But you don't want to do it the right way. You want to break every rule, just like all the money that you've spent up there on that trash compactor, pulling those trees, taking them out, took the trees out, you brought in, rented equipment, came in there and leveled it. That hasn't even been approved yet, hadn't even been voted on. How does the board approves this, they do it. How do they get away with doing things that are not going to follow statute and our bylaws?
That's
And
not
let me
the
make it-
issue.
let me take
The
it.
answer,
I'm not
if
against the
you've
trash
asked me a
compactor.
question, you want me to
Not
answer, you answered. I appreciate it. My understanding is the last question, but the answer to that is that if there was a material alteration that was done improperly, it should either be voted upon or restored to where it was.
Restore.
And that doesn't mean. So that, and that. I'll stop.
They get to call that. Thank you.
Anything else here at this table and this one? Pardon? He's standing there saying he wants to be final. So you two guys go outside and fight it out and we'll adjourn.
I guess he's on the board.
No, he ain't on.
I was gonna be the final. But I didn't hear earlier, when is the septic pump can be done?
It should be done approximately the first week of February, I
'Cause
guess.
I think that's our highest priority. We flood septic in Little Lake Kerr, we can't afford to live here anymore. So that's number one priority.
Well, I mean, they had to order the parts, so there was
Okay.
no way to do it any sooner.
Okay, I'm happy to hear that it's done.
Yeah, we signed the contract. We sent the initial deposit in. We got our first periodic billing. They told us 8 to 10 weeks, which put us at the end of January, beginning of February from when we signed.
Okay,
So I'm not exactly sure when, but
but that's good to know it's finally finalized.
Mhm.
I hear a lot of people here saying the compactor is gonna fix all my problems. Don't believe every commercial you hear. The compactor is gonna give you more problems. Monthly maintenance, cleanup bills. Who's gonna haul the senior citizens' trash to the dumpsters? You're gonna have a staff member go around every morning taking trash to the compactor. The compactor will not fix everything. And I did not retire to come here to be in charge of trash. My recommendation, and you're gonna vote against it, call Waste Management, sign a 10-year contract, and never bring up trash again at any of these meetings, ever. That's my vote.
If you want to be last, Art has something. I didn't say we're gonna do 2 rounds.
On the subject of common area, you're bringing up some issues. Well, you ought to consider that if you want to restore common area that you have a problem with, then that means that we have to restore the veterans area and we have to restore the memory garden back to common area because it wasn't ever voted on. So before you start pushing on other stuff, I, as one member, are going to hold you accountable to making sure that we restore those areas back to common area.
Boy, are we on a slippery slide headed for hell. What? The average age in here is what? 48? I said average. I'm over average. Let's just get along. Is it? Rooster, I'm picking on you, okay? But don't take it personal. what does it hurt for a wood stack to be between two trees on his problem? Okay. So the only thing that he missed was, right, okay. Okay, I get your point now. Got it. Got it. Okay. And the other thing I want to say is this. None of us live in a glass house out here. And I hate casting stones. And I'm not, again, don't take it personal, because just what happened to the happiness that all of us wanted to be out here on? And why am I on the damn board anyway? I don't know. You, yeah. What? Oh, neighbors helping neighbors. What a concept that is. Gotcha. Gotcha. You? A whole list? Okay. Hurry. Quick.
All right, I'll make this real quick. Last year, I actually saw someone walking their dog and not cleaning up after it. I literally stopped my car, got out, walked over and handed the guy a bag. Said, clean up after your dog. He's like, oh, she only peed. Yeah, well, guess what? That wasn't pee, because pee ain't brown and a log. Okay? The guy cussed me up and down. Well, guess what? I have to pick up after my dog. Y'all got to pick up after yours. Plain and simple. I don't want to step in anything, bring it in my house. That's one thing. If we had a patrol, a person, volunteer, whatever, drive by, see a kid on a golf cart driving it, stop them and tell them, plain and simple. It takes a village to raise kids. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. It ain't been 5 minutes. It ain't been 5 minutes, so. Why? Well, then go. I ain't stopping you. Another thing, why don't we pay off the taxes on lot 50, then sell it to make money and go towards a special assessment? And thank you for the movie theater.
I've got to get this guy up here taken care of. He's. Hold on, folks. Everybody had their turn except him.
This is where I live. This is my home. This is my home. I can hear me. You can't hear me? Okay. There are two sites, one in Scrambletown and one almost in Fort McCoy, where you can take your garbage. Take a look at your dumpsters. I know of 3 that are no longer there, which makes it harder to get to them, whatever. This is my home. You've been here for 2 hours. Your butts are sore. Mine, that's why I'm standing up, because chairs are not that great. I've got one one question. And then I'm gonna pass it back to you. Okay. When do men and women talk the least? Think on it. When do men and women talk the least? February.
Okay. Just make it brief, please. It's 11 o'clock already. I thought it was an hour and a half.
Just a real quick note, is there a place, I've noticed a lot of people put stuff at the dumpsters they no longer need, but somebody else may need it. Could you have an area where we could, I've got a
The only thing that you want to do is put it on the website there for free, da. And if nobody comes, picks it up, take it down to the dump. That's all. I don't have an answer for you. There isn't any place that we can store this stuff for people to come in and shop through before it gets discarded, okay? I don't have an answer for you. Does it need to be answered or can we adjourn? I'm going to take this time to thank everybody for showing up and giving your, what's that?
Salt Springs Recycling Center.
Yeah,
4
where?
miles from here.
Oh, yeah, up there. Yeah. He said, what? Go ask that attorney right there. Go ask John. Yeah, ask him. Thank you all very much for